Hello, 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 and welcome. I have fun with that every time, it seems almost. Hey y'all, how's it going? My name is Patrick. This is the Hyra Fish. Welcome to my channel. You can see I have the Spirit Keepers Tarot and the Pride Tarot on the table, and basically what I'm going to be doing, since we have a second new moon in Cancer, I kind of want to do a repeat of what I did last time. This time, though, I will be a little bit more intentional. I've already shuffled these. Oh, the moon was at the bottom of the deck. What is this? Why is the Seven of Swords? Okay, maybe the Seven of Swords was like face backwards. I'm like, what's that about? The moon was at the bottom. It did come out at the cut one time, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I want to pull out the moon and put it on top of the deck, just to really anchor in the intention here. Actually, I'm going to put the moon at the top. Oh, there it is. It's right there. The moon's going to go at the top, and the Four of Cups is going to go at the bottom, because we're in the third decan of Cancer, and also it's in like the 28th degree of Cancer. I just watched Water Baby Tarot's video on the new moon. I figured I had been away from the astrology videos and readings and stuff for long enough that, I would kind of check them out again, just to see if the tone of the conversation has changed. There's the Four of Cups. It's one of my favorite cards in this deck, just because I love how it's depicted, right? And so these are going to be the bottom layer. There's the moon. I'm going to do the same over here. And we're going to come out with the Pride Tarot first, and then we're going to go through with the Spirit Keepers on top, just to see what's going on. I remember the first time we had this new moon in Cancer, it was right on that solar eclipse. It was 0 degrees. I'm like 95% sure it was void, of course, but also, me. Is that thunder? Okay, works. Yes. I'm listening to my Peaceful Meditations playlist, and yeah, last time, let's see, what is this? Oh, it's the moon in Cancer. Accurate. Hold on, let's see if we can get it in there and not. So y'all see that? Moon in Cancer. It's interesting that moon in Cancer isn't the first decan, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. Interesting. Oh well. So it's like perfect. But yeah, so I guess a few things, because I've been thinking about this for the past few days. I've known that the new moon, we were going to have a second one in Cancer for a minute, but I didn't really, I don't want to say I didn't care, but, it was just like, okay, well, let's see if, I hate adjusting this after I'm already live, but, see, if it were like that, like, I like showing more of this over here, you know what I mean? There we go. Something like that. Now you're going to see all this mess. And this is not doing what I... We're just going to say, girl, please. Thank you. Okay, like, hold on. It ain't working. Oh, well, I shouldn't have adjusted it. This has kind of sort of been a thing for me lately. It's like I do all these adjustments, and then I just end up going back to what I originally had anyway. If I move this up a little bit. There we go. This is good enough, right? This'll do. Because then when I set them over to the side, like, I'll like for y'all to see what's over there, So I've known about it for a minute, pretty much since we had one, the first new moon. But I haven't really given much thought to what it would mean to have a second new moon. I was like, what would you call that? I was like, I don't know, because a blue moon is when you have 2 full moons in the same month. And rustling around, he's called it a repeating moon. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. Let me check my volume down here to make sure. Okay, yeah. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But yesterday and today, yesterday specifically, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, so if we have a second new moon in Cancer, that means that the first moon we're going to have in zodiac cycles now moving forward, it's going to be full moons. So the first moon that we're going to have is going to be the full moon in Aquarius when we're in Leo season. Instead of having that new moon in Leo right at the beginning of the season, and we've been experiencing that new moon at the beginning of the season for a minute now, and it's like the degree got earlier and earlier and earlier until we had that solar eclipse where it was like 0 degrees void of course. And I was like, well, what does a void of course moon mean if there's no constellation to astrologically back it, right? It's like it's going into these little weird voidy pocket spaces. And further outside of our realm of understanding, there could be an energy there that it might reach. Or, I don't know. Because, I'm not an astrologer. So, I do like thinking about energies, though. And so I'm like, what does that do energetically? But now it's like that's over, right? Because we're about to have this new moon, 28 degrees Cancer, at the end of Cancer season. So again, when we come into Leo season, we're going to have this full moon, and then the full moons are going to get closer and closer and closer to the beginning of the season. And then we'll probably have a blue moon within a month, maybe, and other stuff. So I was also thinking about how the first full moon was an eclipse, right? And so it's like the full moon, the back of the moon was towards the sun, and the front of the moon was facing us. And it's, I guess, in that way, no, because that would be the opposite, right? We've had all these eclipses, y'all. Energetically, I don't know what they mean. And I know, like, people say what they mean, but I guess instead of energetically, I guess I mean, like, physically, right? Because energetically, people say it means whatever it means, but physically, it's like when it comes to a lunar full moon eclipse, the Earth's shadow, like the Earth is casting a shadow on the moon that is otherwise full. And so when it comes to Earth, it's very 3D, and the Earth, in some ways, since it is a planet of choices, it also involves a certain element of duality. Not necessarily polarity, but duality. And I know it's semantics. And so now, whatever the full moon used to mean, not only are we putting a shadow on it, but there's also these other aspects that go with the planet. And vice versa for the full moon, sort of like eclipsing the sun, right? Anyway, I don't know what all that's about. Oh, cutting right to that. So we'll see if this is helpful. I'll give it a few shuffles until it feel good, until it feel right. And then again, we'll do what we did last time. Oh wait, I messed up. Girl. Oh no, I didn't. Because I did want to shuffle it in. And give it a cut. Give it a few more. Hop. Well, there she is. So, how did that happen? The Knight of Cups, girl. The Seven of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Just, when did that happen? This knight is like under the power of the Cancer moon. I'm gonna move in ways I didn't do before. So with the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck, followed by the Two of Swords. That's really interesting energy. But yeah, let me find this moon card. Here she is. I'm gonna flip this. I'll set her aside. So I want to get a few cards. Actually, I want to flip it over and do it because I want them to come out face down. And then there was that devil. That Capricornian energy. Okay, let's get a few cards, please. Thank you. Last time I had 5. I kind of want to get 5 again, but we'll see. I'll take these as 1. Maybe I'll just do 3. So yeah, last time I did this, the Ten of Swords came out, Judgment came out, and some other stuff came out. And I was getting the feeling that like anything that we hadn't cleared up, clarified, wrapped up since we had started, we're like we were going to revisit it in some way that was going to make it painfully obvious or clear that we need to close those cycles or just get back into them, right? Whatever we choose. Okay, girl, work. Maybe I'll get one more because I'm kind of running out of space. Yeah, this is what we'll do. Bottom of the deck is the King of Cups. These are all upright. I'm doing everything upright today. The King of Cups came out. The Knight of Cups was just like chilling at the top of the deck, just like face up when everything else was face down. Something smells like somebody's making some chicken patties or something. I feel like my sense of smell has gotten better or more powerful, maybe. I don't know. It's been weird. Not really. I had a dream that I was going somewhere with my auntie last night. And we were driving on the road, and all of a sudden, it's like, I don't know, maybe we were driving in the middle of a parade or something. But it's like all these people on the road, and we trying to move through, and ain't nobody getting out the way. So we like, she got her window rolled down, and she's like, excuse me. And so I was saying, excuse me, too, to my side, but my window was rolled up. So then I rolled my window down. Well, like, let me roll down my window so I can help. Oh, nice, right at the bottom. All right, let's see what we can put on top. Yeah. Ooh, Queen of Cups. Oh, that's way too much. Okay. Clarify these up. Thank you. Ooh, 2 cards for 2 cards. Work. And they weren't really moving. And she was driving, and there was like a toddler or a baby, like right under the wheel. I'm like, stop. I'm like, and then I was like, can you move, please? Because that thing almost got squished. It wasn't like a baby. It was maybe like 3. It was a toddler. It was a little boy. And I'm like, dude. And I was like stressed because I'm like, why aren't these people getting out of the way? But ultimately, at the end of the day, we made it to our final destination. Anyway, that's kind of sort of besides the point. So back to this. Yeah, it's like, so we're going to be moving from new moons, opening up the cycles, to full moons. And it's interesting because I know Mimi said that we've been in this point of having new moons at the beginning of the Zodiac season for a while now. And so with the new moon, it's like things are dark. The full moon, things are fully illuminated. And when we manifest with the new moon, it's because the moon fills up and then it pours out whatever we were manifesting. But also with the space of delay, it's like the things that have been done in the dark. And I know I've kind of sort of been talking about it for a minute. Well, the first time it came up, it was like, oh, it seems like this energy is going to be prevalent here pretty soon. Bottom of the deck over here is the Eminence, the 9 of Orbs. This is the Beyonce card. So we got the King of Cups and the 9 of Orbs. I feel like this is about having a solid internal foundation. This is about being so emotionally healed and present and available that it leads us to having this stability, or this, it's like the stability that can't be shooken by the physical world, regardless of how much or how little we have. And it comes through the energy of this King of Cups. But this is within ourselves, right? So it's like, no matter what happens, I'm going to be good regardless. And the thunder is rumbling. Okay, so let's just get into these. Well, let me finish that thought. So it's like, now we're going to be starting with the full moons. We're going to be starting with things fully illuminated instead of starting with things sort of left unspoken. And I feel like that's kind of sort of been 2020 up until now. It's been a lot of stuff that was brewing in the background, that it's been a lot of surprises and changes and shakeups. And I feel like even the people who could have seen this coming might not have seen this level of impact that it's had. Or maybe they did, you know, who knows? I feel like sometimes it's like, or maybe it's just me personally. Sometimes it's like we can see a what, but not a how. Right? Like, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to be exposed, that's going to be exposed, this is going to happen, but we may not necessarily know how it's going to come about and to what severity it'll be. But anyway, now we're going to be starting with things a little more fully illuminated and not just coming in out of the dark, or we have the potential to. So I believe I started with these last time. Even if I didn't, I'll do it this time. What's the point of putting that on top? I don't know. More thunder! We're starting with the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Wands. I feel like this is a choice. Either we flee or we stand and fight. Because in this Seven of Swords, this is a Marine who's in the LGBT. This is the Pride Tarot, so LGBTQ plus themes are like woven throughout pretty much all of these cards, if not every single one. But in this one, before Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, before people could be openly gay or LGBTQ, before people could fully embody that identity in their service. Girl, my brain is all over the place, but I think y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna stick to this. Also, I'll talk about it later. So this is someone who's decided that he's gonna go basically AWOL, and he's gonna take all of the Marines' swords so that they can no longer affect him, so that they can't hurt him, right? This is the space of self-preservation at the cost of vulnerability. At the cost of vulnerability. And when you're not vulnerable to be hurt, you're also not vulnerable. When you're not vulnerable, you're not open to receive either. Thank you. Let me like breathe for a second so my brain can word things. But with the Nine of Wands, this is about standing in your authenticity against any obstacle that comes instead of sort of running away and hiding it. And this is the choice we're being presented with. All this coming after that Ten of Swords and that Judgment. So it's like we already know that the things that don't work aren't going to work. But what are we going to do with that knowledge and awareness, right? Are we going to be ourselves with the Nine of Wands? Or are we going to try to fit in with the Seven of Swords and sacrifice what it is that makes us ultimately who we are and what is the source of our own power now? If we flip these over, oof, we got the Tower and the Journeyman, and I love this. Now, I've talked about the Journeyman a lot. In the Journeyman, this is a card, I always feel the Eight of Pentacles as a mastery, because a lot of times it's like an adept being depicted hard at work, perfecting his craft. So by the end of that Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Coins, Eight of Orbs energy, you'll be closer to mastery. Now, you're not yet a master, but you're on the path. And in this card in particular, this is someone taking all that they have within them and manifesting it into something physical, right? And we've seen that they've already gotten the practice doing it before. And with this last orb, this is the Orb of Mastery held within this, like this living wand with these two things coiled around it, giving you Caduceus energy. She's serving Kundalini, right? All of that stuff with the Forest of Mystery in the background. I think this is what happens when we choose to stand up and fight. Because again, like we really discover who we are in those moments. It's like you don't know who you are. You don't know how strong you are until you have to be that strong. But if you never stand, if you never fight, you're never going to find out how strong you are. So that's going to come over here, the 8 into the 9, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And then we have this tower card, which is another 7. It's a 16-7, so 7-7. I feel like this is going to be the result of what happens, right? Because depending on what you agreed to and what your path is supposed to be, whatever you aren't facing, you're going to keep getting reminders, right? And the axe in here, I believe it's the axe of Shiva. It cuts out corruption. So this tower is happening for a reason. Something needs to be exposed so it can be healed. Something needs to be let go of. But if you're not vulnerable, you're not going to be open to receiving this healing. And so it's just going to come in and try to shake you. Or that tower moment is going to be what happens when, the dust clears, things settle, and you find out you're not in the space quite that you thought you would be in or that you want to be in. With this 9 of Wands and with this 8 of Pentacles, now is the time to be making it's been the time, but I think this is what we're opening it up with. Either you've been in this 9 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, or you've been in this 7 of Swords. Either you've been up here and it's going to lead to this, because these are the spirit. So the energy of the spirit is already there, but it takes a second to come into the physical because the physical is so dense, right? Because there's a few Ds of separation between the realms of spirit and the 3D. Even the realms of spirit and the 5D, but they're still, where all of that is formed in the 5D, there's still separation. There are still energetic, there are still Ds to cross, right? And so it's still going to take some time, but it's not going to be as long. And also the dynamics will be different. So yeah, spiritually it's already done because of your actions or inactions. And also with that 7 of Swords, it could have been because, right, that's someone with this lack of, it's someone making themselves invulnerable. It's like someone trying to create a tower themselves to protect themselves in some way. And if it wasn't really serving, then, it's going to fall. It's going to fail. But this could be someone who didn't perceive of events in ways that truly serve their soul purpose and their soul growth. Now, moving on to the next, we have the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is that, remember like y'all watched it. If you watched the video the other day, I don't remember, where the Ruler of Coins was the first card that came out of the Ascendant edition, the darker edition of the Weaver Tarot. I was like, this crown looks dusty. It looks like it has cobwebs, and it's that stability that we didn't have access to. I don't know how to get this where it's like, there we go. It's that stability that we didn't have access to. And it came to me what else it could be after that, but I forgot. Because I was looking at the card or something, and I was like, oh, it could also be that. Anyway, this is about us being a ruler of our own 3D experiences. Just like this 9 of Pentacles is about us being materially solid, being solid in body regardless of what happens. It's this. It's the energy of being unshakable, unspookable, unshakable, shook-proof. And it's because when we encounter something, we choose the perspective that puts us in our power instead of choosing a perspective that takes us out of it. Even if the situation is beyond our control, it's like, even if it's beyond our control, we can still control how we react and how we respond to it. We control our recovery, right? And with the King of Pentacles energy, again, it's about having enough stored within yourself that it's like camel energy. It's having enough stored within yourself that regardless of what the external brings you, you don't waver. And with this being the one card, again, it's like there's a difference between being spiritually unwavering or being unwavering because of your trust and your faith in spirit, and being unwavering because you've built yourself up to be so impervious to anything that happens, right? Because with the Nine of Wands and with the Eight of Pentacles, it's not about being invulnerable at all. It's about being unshakable. And there's a difference between being invulnerable and being unshakable. Like, being invulnerable would be the rigid building that never moves. But if an earthquake happens and if that building doesn't sway with the earth, it may snap, right? Being unshakable is having the flexibility to move and flow as things move and flow, and to always be shifting your perspective in ways, always alchemizing, right? Always coming out on top in the physical. And this is the physical, but it's giving me elements of the body in general, if that makes any sense. So like the astral body, the emotional body, the mental body, the energetic body, the physical body, like all aspects of your being are stable. This is a, like, even though those may typically fall more in the realm of cups, and we got the King of Cups up there. Oh, we got the king, and we got the Kings of Cups and Pentacles out, and we saw the Seekers of Cups and Pentacles yesterday on the light side that came out up here with the Four of Swords, which is interesting. Um, and I know, like, some of that stuff, like when it comes to the mental body, we may think swords. And when it comes to the emotional body, we may think cups. But I'm feeling it today, like all parts of the body are within this king. Now, when it comes to perceiving outside of us and when it comes to engaging outside of us, that's when it's like emotionally interacting with other people in the environment, King of Cups, mentally interacting and verbally interacting with other people and the environment, King of Swords. Um, Pushing yourself or creating spaces or occupying spaces in the environment, being seen in the environment is the King of Wands. But everything within us and all aspects of ourselves is this King of Pentacles. Now, he's clarified by the Magician. And there's some more thunder for you. I love this because, again, that's the space that we really create from. Um, because when we're not subject to, I'm going to say it how I feel it, but I feel like I'm going to have to clarify after I say it. When we're not subjected to the ebb and flow of the world, when we can flow with it, then our creations can also flow with it, right? It's like we're creating things that can last, that will stand with this Magician. Now, if we create in a way, and the biggest theme here is vulnerability. And it's interesting because this is going to be opposing Capricorn, right? Um, well, so the moon is going to be conjuncting the sun, but since it's happening later degrees of Capricorn, it's going to be opposing a whole bunch. Hold up, wait, let me start to say that again. The moon is conjuncting the sun in later degrees of Cancer, and since it's later degrees of Cancer, it's going to be opposing all of that stuff we had in Capricorn. That's like, what? At the time, it was like 22, 23, 29 degrees. Now it's like 20, 22, 28, right? And I don't know if y'all saw it, but when it first came out, I was like, it's opposing all that stuff in Capricorn, but this is like, this new moon is early degrees, like 0 degrees, barely Cancer, and all that stuff is like very late Capricorn. So there is an oppositional energy there, but it's very, very loose. It's very weak. Now we're coming to the height of this, and it's almost like if you did the hard work when it was easier, it's going to be easier now to do this work. If you didn't do that, if you didn't do all that you could do before, now that we come into these more direct oppositions, it may be a little bit more difficult. And it's like, it's because we've gotten our muscles used to it now, right? It's like if you know you're going to have to run a marathon, you wouldn't start training for the marathon the day before the marathon, right? This is the energy that trained for the marathon that's going to be able to win the race. This is the energy that didn't train for the marathon that's going to blame other people for why it didn't win the race, right? And that's the thing here. That's the thing about this King of Pentacles and his manifestations. If we took this energy, it's going to be able to stand. If we took this energy, it's going to fall apart. Because there's no vulnerability here. There's no wiggle room here. It's too rigid. Now, coming over here, we have this energy. The Eight of Pentacles again! We got the Eight of Pentacles again, crossed by the Ten of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles crossed by the Ten of Pentacles. Well, here, let's see. Let's do this. First, we'll show them like this. So, here's the Eight of Pentacles. You can see she's like drawing up paper. Like, these are paper pentacles, girl. Paper don't, like, this ain't the kind of money that you can spend at the grocery store. But then over here, we got the Ten of Pentacles, if I can get it in frame. I believe. This is the Ten of Pentacles, right? Yeah, the Ten of Pentacles. Why it looks so dark? I feel like I've seen this before. I don't know. So, and I feel like it's kind of sort of reiterating what I just said, right? Because we have the journeyman here with physical pentacles, and this is about actually making something manifest. But over here, it's like paper pentacles. But if it's flowing in this way, what this is telling me, because again, like these, the Pride Tarot, I'm taking in place of the physical more so, with the Spirit Keepers Tarot being the place and space of the spiritual. And so these are like right here. I feel like the gap between the physical and the spiritual is closing. It's getting more narrow. And that's another reason why an improper approach to these things aren't going to lead to the same results. And we may start to see more and more disparities between progress and movement. And I feel like sometimes in the past, it was really easy for us to validate progress and movement with what's happening in our physical environment, right? There's my grandma. Oh, I was supposed to do the mission statement today, but I forgot. I was gonna go back and do it, but I didn't. She'll take care of it. Um, yeah, we were using the physical as a sort of metric, and that's why I think it was on my legacy channel, and that's when I did the two-part. No, it might not have been. I think it was. I think it was. I think it was when I had the Knight of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. It was the Sovereign, no, the Conqueror of Pentacles, the Sovereign of Pentacles, and then the title card over here. No, actually, it wasn't. It wasn't that one. It was when I used the Energy Oracle cards. And it's on my Legacy channel. It's titled like the Metrics of Success or something like that. And with that, the energy over there was basically like if we're using our physical environment to judge and evaluate our spiritual progress, we got the system messed up. We got it wrong. We got it messed up. And then devil energy, if that's how we look at things, if that was our perspective, if that was our angle, it leaves us very, 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 very susceptible to devil energy. And devil energy is Capricorn energy. It's cardinal Capricorn energy. Devil energy rules over this 3D physical plane. And it doesn't rule over it in the sense of like lordship. It rules over it in the sense of how easy it is for that energy to come in and to make things manifest on this density, right? And it also comes with a certain lack of spiritual awareness. And so if the outside is what you use to gauge yourself, that's devil energy territory. Devil energy can make the outside of you look like whatever it wants it to look like in order to get you thinking whatever it is that you think. And I've been saying at least since like what, January, that we need to be pulling away from the physical and going more internal. Even in December or like last November, I believe, I was like, you know, if you're like, yeah, it was like December, November, because I was like, if you're looking outside of yourself for some kind of validation, if some kind of direction, if some kind of for some kind of like movement or whatever, it's fine. But we're going to be coming to the point where it's going to be more detrimental than not, because whatever, it's like we need to be connected enough to our own higher selves and have enough of a relationship with spirit that we don't have to depend and rely on somebody from on the outside to tell us how to do our work on the inside. Because again, everything on the outside is kind of sort of subject to that. And that's kind of sort of this energy, right? This is someone making paper pentacles to get to the 10. I feel like it requires a person of a certain amount of faith or a certain amount of trust or a certain amount of belief or a certain amount of power to believe that these 8 paper pinnacles are going to get them any closer to 10 actual pinnacles, right? I feel like to most logical, reasoning, thinking people, it's like that's not real money, that's not going to spend. It doesn't actually get you any closer. Now, the difference here is I'm getting with this energy that there's a difference between, and I've been saying this for a minute as well, there's a difference between how we used to view manifestation and what it's coming to be. Because each of these 8 paper pinnacles, it's like it will remain a piece of paper until she does something to them to lift it from the page, to make it manifest, to turn it real. Exactly like what we see over here with this person and her crown making all of these pinnacles, right? This is someone going through all of these pinnacles and making them real. And then by the end of it, she's going to know it well enough that she'll be able to claim this mastery. And this mastery, especially coming to this, or after this King of Pentacles, is going to be how to bring in all 10. And with this energy, it's really like, it's lordship over the physical, it's lordship over the 3D with both of these. It's lordship over the 3D. Whereas devil energy used to reign supreme. It's like when you withdraw your power from devil energy. Let's do it this way so we can still read what these cards are. Right? Since the titles of these are at the bottom, and then I'll put these on top. There we go. I like that. Spirit on top. Right? Finally, you put your love on top. Alright, you put my love on top? I don't really listen to music, so I don't know. Baby, it's you. You're the one I want. Anyway, yeah, this is mastery over the 3D physical plane, and it comes through the element of spirit. It's very spiritually focused, but it's physically grounded, and it's physically grounded to the point again where we withdraw all of that power from devil energy, where we don't allow devil energy to come in and use like our physical experiences as a way to discourage and distract us. Because it's like once he can no longer do that, there's no reason for him to hold on to that anymore, so we get to reclaim it. This is clarified by the Empress. Exactly. This is when we come into our own, like the true fullness of our own co-creative and creative power. When we stop using the physical as a metric to determine anything. And it's not that it can't be used, but it's like, how much of our priority do we actually make it? And how much are we using spirituality to get what we want in the physical, right? And again, I feel like this is something that can operate on very, very subtle levels. And the ego is always the ego. And it's okay to want comfort, and it's okay to want stability. And it's okay to operate out of the knowing that a certain amount of spiritual, I don't want to say like prevalence, but a certain amount of spiritual, I don't want to say status either, but it feels like status. But it's status acquired through proving yourself, like trial by fire, proving your mettle, proving your worth. You get all these spiritual accolades for the work that you do, and for the challenges that you continue to face and rise to, and for the efficiency of your work. And we know that that should come with a certain amount of stability, of comfort, of abundance. And so I think that's another reason why this 10 of Pentacles is blocking or crossing this 8 of Pentacles. Because again, these are 8 paper pentacles. So we can't see the worth and the value of these things yet, but we keep doing the work anyway. And if we use this abundance to discourage us, if we use the disparity or the difference between, what we do spiritually and what we have physically, and if that demotivates us or if it causes frustration within us, then that's like giving devil energy something to work with. And once we give devil energy something to work with, it'll keep working. It's like that really, really, really annoying person who, especially like it's like that person that that purposefully tries to annoy people. And so that as soon as you express any kind of frustration, upsetness, or annoyance with this person, they're going to have a field day with it. Like, that's kind of sort of one aspect of double energy and how it operates. And again, it's very human to want the things that we want, and it's very human to be upset when we're upset and to feel all of our emotions, right? But we need to get to the point where we're not feeling those, or we're not in that energy to the point where it comes at like a spiritual detriment, right? Like, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be mad, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be frustrated, it's okay to have a down day. But how far, like, how low do you go? And when you go that low, what do you start to entertain, right? And I think that's why this Ten of Pentacles is a blockage, because it's like, I've been doing, you may be feeling, I've been doing 10 Pentacles worth of work. Where are my 10 Pentacles? But in reality, it's like you're at the Eight of Pentacles. So maybe if you were asking for, like, 1, 2, 3 Pentacles, it would be fine. It ain't even that. I feel like these two energies, it kind of sort of feels like entitlement when it's not in balance, or when it's in, like, not fully aligned. It feels like entitlement. Like, we think that the little bit of work that we've done entitles us to all of this. But in reality, when we continue to do this, we'll get this. But if this is a blockage more so than it is like a motivator, then it's going to put us in that energy where double energy can come in and sort of use us and trick us and discourage us and get us to, like, step off our path or do whatever. But if we've had that Nine of Pentacles energy and stayed on the path and continued to work connected to this Eight of Pentacles energy, continued to develop this mastery to become masters of ourselves and all of our bodies, to attain alignment within ourselves, to then establish and build connections and bridges to higher levels of consciousness, then we come into those realms of co-creative creator potentiality, that with this Empress will have us giving birth to our own like lives and our ways of being, instead of being subjected to waiting for the environment to reflect it. Now we're going to end this with the Two of Pentacles, which is interesting. Now, the Two of Pentacles in this deck is not a struggle. Like, this person ain't struggling. They having a good time. And they got that pink boa. That heart is open. They are vulnerable. Pink and green. Look, a pink boa with green pants with yellow polka dots. Let's see if I can get that to... Yeah, there you go. The pink boa with the green pants, yellow polka dots. Yellow is the color of the solar plexus. Green is the color of the heart. Pink is the color associated with the heart. It's like that heart is open. He's bare-chested, no shirt, vulnerable, enjoying life. No matter how the ball rolls, he'll stay on top of it, and he'll keep juggling those things effortlessly, right? And again, it's not about being happy all the time, per se, but it's about having a trust and an unwavering faith. Right, like, I'm sure there are times when Job was like, God, like, what is up? Like, why are you allowing this to happen? Like, I'm not going to, like, betray you. I'm not going to turn my back on you. I'm not going to lose my faith. But, I am wondering, what is the reasoning behind this? What am I supposed to be learning from this? How does this grow me? All I'm doing is losing. And again, I'm not going to spiritually, like, backslide. That's a word that they use in the Christian community. Backsliding. But I'm just curious, like, what is this all for? Like, what's the point? What's the purpose? And then eventually you'll get your answer. Right? When everyone was like, you should curse God, Job was like, I'm not dumb. Why would I do that? Now, this is clarified. We have three cards. So maybe we'll see like a repeat. We're just gonna flip these over. Yes! Oh, I love this. See, the reason why I just flipped it over is because this will correspond to this. This will correspond to this, and this will be the bridge in the middle in between them. And because I was like, I don't want to have to determine like which one goes with which, and so I'll let the cards determine themselves, and that's what they did. When we go from that, when we do that 9 of Wands, the Journeyman, we come into this another 8 energy with the 17 star, and we end up with the healer. We end up as the star. We end up, and again with this Empress energy, this is the space of that luminous void. It's about going into a space where there is no light, going into the space where there is only darkness, and shining and radiating out in that space the things that you want that will then draw it into you. This is about, again, us coming more into this creative power, but in a way that is of higher alignment, in a way that moves the world forward, in a way that moves us forward as well, in a way that we don't have to sacrifice happiness and love and all of this other stuff. It's like with this energy, we can get everything that we want and more. But it requires this death, this transformation of the ego. It requires us to rise out of our lower minds and out of our lower hearts. Because if we don't, we're going to be stuck in this we're going to be stuck in this conservator. Oh my gosh, the conservator. Now, some of us may have some strong feelings about him, but taking him out of the equation and just looking at the energy, this is an energy of protection. It's supposed to be. This is supposed to be an energy of protecting. It's supposed to be an energy of guarding. That's what a conservator is. It's someone who guards, someone who protects. But it's like this conservator energy has been taken so far out of context that it's taking advantage of people, and it's taking advantage of things. And this is going to be the space that these people are going to fall into. And it isn't the fault of spirit. It isn't the fault of anybody else but you. At the end of the day, we all have to take responsibility for ourselves. And that's another thing that this is about. This is about taking responsibility of ourselves. And regardless of what the environment looks like, regardless of what is done to us, at the end of the day, we take responsibility for how we process that, how we respond, and how we react. Because on a certain level, we know that everything is valid. But there are some things that serve us, and there are some things that don't serve us. And all emotions are valid, right? The fact that you feel the way you feel, to me, as a Pisces with a whole bunch of water in my chart and some earth in my chart and some other things, and as, the decent person I try to be, it's like it doesn't matter how the situation played out. However you feel is valid, right? But valid feelings don't always excuse actions, right? And so it's like it was valid that you felt that way, but I still wouldn't have gone about it in the way that you did or the way that you didn't do, because ultimately at the end of the day, if my goal is to get to D, I'm not gonna be mad at like B or C and stop there, right? It's like, wow, B and C kind of did me dirty, but we're continuing the road trip to get to D. I'm not letting that other stuff like again, it's all valid, it all makes sense, but at the end of the day, we are responsible in some part, and a lot, in much part, for our own. We're responsible for ourselves, and no one else is going to come in and give us all of the things that we want. Spirit can assist us, other people can assist us. Some people can, you get a sugar daddy or whatever, sugar mama, whatever. But besides all of that, the things that our souls need and want, like no one can give that to us necessarily. They can create it with us. But at the end of the day, we have to take responsibility for that. And when we take responsibility for that, there are some times where we have to ask ourselves, like, I could do this, and I am very, very valid in why I feel this way. But is it worth my time? Is it worth my energy? Is it worth my effort? Is it worth me getting to D? Is it worth me being stuck at B? Is it worth me being stuck at C? For some people, maybe. For me, not really. Most of the time, it's like, it's not really worth it. And so I just keep moving. right? So yeah, it's like, it's interesting though that these energies are the same for both of these people. These energies are the same, but here we see the splitting point with the Ten of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles is coming after this King. And again, I feel like the King coming first with the 8 and the 10 coming after further gives opportunity for someone to feel entitled to something, right? And because of our spiritual whatever, it's like there's a spiritual side of the ego as well. There's like the physical side of the ego, there's the emotional side of the ego, there's the mental side of the ego, there's the spiritual side of the ego, right? The ego, those parts of us it has just as many bodies as we do. It also has an etheric body, it also has an emotional body, it also has a mental body, right? And it can affect us in any way if it's unchecked. And that's, I feel like there was a little bit of a spiritual ego that led us to feel entitled to a certain amount of physical. And again, it's like when we didn't see that in the physical, it caused us to feel some type of way that ultimately may be leading to this tower, or maybe it's like those are, I'm gonna wrap this up, but like those are the points of entry that this energy can use. Either the divine energy or shadow energy. Now, divine energy will come in with that tower moment to highlight to you that this is a structural, this is a weakness in your structural integrity that you need to address, because if you don't address it and if you continue to build on this, the building will collapse. Or you'll allow shadow energy to come in and to kind of satiate you, right? And when it does that, that's when we blame people outside of ourselves, right? Because instead of going like, this is a structural integrity issue that I have within myself, and this is something that I need to address to prevent further damage and harm or whatever misfortune will happen later on the road. If you have a person to blame, a lot of times we just blame the person and we don't look at it, right? And it's giving me the energy of like, a stitch in time saves 9. If you sew up the tear when it's small, it'll prevent you from needing to like sew up that much later, because it'll continue to rip, right? A stitch in time saves 9. And there's so much healing and so much light that comes out of this 9 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, mastery over the physical into this. Because it's almost like there's an actual mastery that we achieve and that we gain by doing the hard work, that spiritually we may be like, and I don't even want to try to quantify it, because it's a difference. And ultimately, it's like, I'm not going to try to quantify it. But there's an actual mastery that we come into, and then there's this mastery that we feel entitled to. And either after situations sort of resolve themselves, either we're going to be left feeling this conservator energy, cheated, deserving something, that's my baby and I'm entitled to her money and her well-being and all of this and all of that, and without me she wouldn't even exist, when in reality it's like you're doing more harm to her than you're doing anything else. And with that being your baby, you should want her to live and thrive and succeed and to be happy, and to have her own family with her, like actual like birth kids. Anyway, like that's the energy of entitlement. Or you can be the star where you shine anyway, and the darkness can only hold the star shine for so long. And it's almost like this Reaper. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! That's what he's being led to. He's being led to the star, right? Because the closer you get to the source of light, the more narrow the beam becomes, because you're getting like really close, right? I don't want to say forsaken, but this Reaper is going from the conservator to the star. This transformative energy, this ability to make things happen and to make things manifest, is leaving the conservator behind and heading towards the star. And that's interesting. And then we end up with the Knight of Cups. Now, with the Knight of Cups, I feel like they say misery loves company, but higher energies also like company. And whatever spot we've been resonating at with that Knight of Cups is going to be what comes in for us. And again, so it's feeling like this Cancer new moon is going to be a period of fulfillment. It's going to be fulfilling all of the things that we've been putting in. And the amount that we're going to get back is going to be reflective of the work that we've put into it. And it's going to be reflective of our spiritual and physical sovereignty, right? Spiritual integrity, physical sovereignty is going to be an aspect of that. So I know, like, all of your manifestations are coming to be, didn't come out necessarily per se, but that's kind of sort of the energy running behind all of this, right? So yeah, I love it. Maybe an interesting time for some folks, but at the end of the day, it can motivate us to do better, or we can mope and curse, whatever, and then pursue means that, you know, maybe we shouldn't be. So I'm gonna give these a little shuffle up, and then I'm actually gonna come back live because I'm not yet satiated today. I want to spend a little more time here. I'm gonna be doing physical work a little bit less today, and I want to just come on and talk. King of Swords with the Hangman. He about to cut himself free. Your truth will set you free, and once you free yourself, girl, you'll be able to soar. Ooh, now we got the Hierophant. That's Neptune and Taurus energy. Neptune being the dreamer, Taurus being the physical reality. So, and then we get that Wheel of Fortune. Okay, majors, come out. Yes, we've seen both sides of Pisces on the opposite ends of that Hierophant energy. First, we saw the. Hold on, wait. We've seen the planetary rulers. We saw Neptune in the Hangman, the modern day ruler, and we've seen Jupiter with that Wheel of Fortune, the traditional ruler. And now we got that Taurian energy, the Hierophant. On both sides, it's about making dreams a reality, right? But it's dreams in a way that play on a very subtle level. Oops. We'll take it. Why not? Bottom of the deck is the Chariot. Things are about to take off. Things are about to move. Top of the deck, because I'm curious, is the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is about having integrity. I'm feeling the fire, all of the fire. So the fire court, the court of fire, isn't necessarily about integrity in and of itself, but to come into this higher vibrational energy of it, to get what we actually want, it's going to be about having integrity when we go about getting it. Archangel of Mysteries, the angel who illuminates the shadow. I feel like this is going to be the fulfillment of a lot of things in a lot of different areas, because she's been watching us and she's been guiding us and she's been helping us when we've been in these dark times. And regardless of if we've chosen to see her light or to turn away from it, it's kind of sort of besides the point, right? Because she can't force us to do anything. It's like some people pray for these angels to come in and do stuff for them, but then they don't even follow the guidance. It's like the angels, spirit, your guides, they're not going to force you to do what you should do. They may open doors for you. They may create opportunities. They may reduce the energetic barriers to enter certain realms, functionalities, frequencies, but you still have to walk through the door. They can take you to the door. They can open the door. They can try to push you through the door, but if you're resisting, you're not going to go through the door. Then we have this Knight of Wands. Again, the malaise. It's like, it don't matter how beat up you feel. Don't give up. Keep standing there. The night is almost over. The night is almost over. Day will come. Day will break. And it's almost, for me personally, it's like, it's been my experience that the more I give into it, the more I speak my truth, the more I just go with it. It's like the less opposition I feel. It's like it's been so much easier to actually face things coming at me and to discover myself and to be more of myself, and then more things happen, and to continuously come more and more and more into myself. It's like the more I've come into myself, the more I've come into my voice, the easier everything has gotten. And it would have been so much more difficult if I hadn't. And I think that's the coming into the fullness of who we are. That's us actually coming into our own power. Next card out is the Page of Wands. The tale resumes every time I see her. The tale resumes. Something that was paused, maybe getting a play. This is 10 wands now between the two of them. But this 10th wand, ooh, girl, this 10th wand is coming to us by Spirit. Spirit is giving us the 10th wand, and that's a wand that we do not want to drop. It's a one that we don't want to drop. It's almost like we've been given some of the responsibility before we've been given the gift. And again, I've been saying, like, with great power comes great responsibility, but for some of this, we have to prove ourselves responsible first, and not after we get it. And so if you drop the wand of Spirit, I mean, I don't know, it probably ain't too late to pick up the torch for the next round. Like, regardless of what happens, it's never too late to pick up the torch and to continue moving. It's never too late. And so even if you didn't get it this time, even if it doesn't completely fully work out, and again, that's taking the punch out of the physical. We shouldn't need to be affirmed by the things going on around us in our physical experiences. And it's almost like there's been a moment of intentional delay. And I guess I've been feeling that since, February, early February, maybe late January, when I was like, Spirit's giving us the keys and it's time for us to learn how to drive. Right? When we were in the forest and the fog rolled in to disrupt the illusion. But the fog was so thick that it scattered all the light that came in as well. It's like the fog that came in obscures all light. But obscuring all light was the only way to break this illusion. It's the only way to break this holographic projection. And that's how holograms work. They work with light. Just like a projector, just like a movie, it works with light. So the only way to stop the movie is to turn off the light. But when you turn off the light, it's going to be dark. But then with that star energy, it gives us the opportunity to come into our own light, to give birth to our own light with that Empress. And then from that light in this world, really claim that true ownership with that King of Pentacles and meet that mastery head on with the Nine of Wands and the Journeyman and really claim it. It's like our higher selves have been meeting us or have been trying to meet us. And as they've met us, they've been integrating with us, right? And again, that's the wand that came to us that, I don't know, maybe some people dropped it. That's just how I'm getting it. And then we have the Nine of Swords over here. So it may have been difficult, but again, it's like the more you work, at least for me, it's like the more I faced it, like when you face it head on, it's not as difficult. And the message of this card is the Three of Pentacles. Is this in reverse? I don't think so. No, it's not. The Three of Pentacles. The Mason. It's like this wand that Spirit gave us is the burden of more fully cooperating with Spirit. It's like cooperating to the degree where it's like there are a lot. It's like I talk about the boardroom sometimes and how it's like there are these meetings behind the scenes where it's like, okay, this person is going through this. Who do we have on file that can come in and try to eliminate this for them, be it good or bad? And also in the boardroom is where they take stock of who's doing the work and who isn't doing the work. And so if there's work that needs to be redistributed because one person isn't doing it, then that happens there. All things that happen behind the scenes of Spirit happen in this sort of spiritual boardroom. And so in order to be involved in these boardroom meetings, there's a certain amount, like there are credentials that you have to acquire to be involved in this discussion, right? And if you can successfully, I think somebody just called me, but maybe not. We'll see. They'll call me again if they did. That's been happening lately too. It's like people have been calling my name. Maybe I'm coming back into my gift of clairaudience or something. I don't know. In a more physical way. Anyway, if we've successfully been able to navigate these energies, and if we haven't dropped the torch that Spirit has passed us, if we've done this, because I feel like with this Nine of Swords, it only hurts if there is separation between us and the shadow, and our shadow, our own personal shadow, not the collective shadow, our shadow. If we're integrated with the shadow, then it's like the shadow it, if we're integrated with the shadow, it's like the shadow dulls the pain, but it's like it dulls the pain because it's like a quicksand type of feeling. The harder you fight it, the quicker you sink. Like a Chinese finger trap, or what do they call them? I forget what the other word is, but it's like the harder you try to pull apart, the more stuck you'll be. The only way to escape it is to come together and to gently, when you're together, remove that. This is a pain that's caused by the separation of our own essence going to the suit of essences. It's the pain of separation caused by the difference between our light and our shadow. And when they're not separated, it's like it hurts less because there's less of a tug of war. If they're working together, then it's like you're golden. And again, it's like these are all the things that have kind of sort of been needed. And I want to get one more card. Ooh, okay. Well, she's upright because these are all in reverse. So the Chariot down here. And I love that we have another queen. No, this is his queen. This is the King and the Queen of Pentacles. This is the King and the Queen of Pentacles, of Orbs, the Ebony Shield, and the Archangel of Mysteries. And I wanted to get one more just to make this a little bit more symmetrical. And I love that I pulled that card because this is how we achieve and attain that physical mastery. But once we do this, it's like we have to protect ourselves. And it's not that Spirit won't protect us anymore, but it's like we don't need Spirit in that capacity. It's like if I give you 10 points of Spirit, and you can use them however you want. If you can't protect yourself, there's a default 3 points of protection you get. If you pray for extra protection, if you do a lot of extra protection type of things, then you can spend like 1 to 3 more points. If you spend 3 points, that's 6 points of protection that you have, and then you have 4 points of Spirit left for the rest of your life. But when we learn to protect ourselves, that's a whole bunch of like Spirit points that we can put into something else. When we rule over our own physical experiences, then we can work more in the more subtle realms. Again, because we're not looking at the physical as a means of validation. But yeah, with like this crowning all of this, it's like now we have this little triangle right here, right? So here we have an upwards pointing triangle, and then in this card is the downwards pointing triangle. So that's the Star of David, the Merkaba, whatever shape. And this is one of the ways that we can sort of stand on our own, but it comes at the expense of these 2 9s. And this 9 is actually a 10 because the 10th is given to us by Spirit. So, again, if we've risen to the occasion, then there's a lot that we will have to gain. And again, the Chariot is at the bottom of the deck. So this is about us moving forward in a way. Girl, we ain't doing that again. I'm sorry. This is about us moving forward in a way that really we come into that co-creative space. That was the 6 of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, victory over the physical circumstances. 6 of Wands and the Initiate. Since we've done that, we get to really embark on who we are and what our ability is. Now we have the Initiate and the 2 of Wands, and we can really cross that chasm of the veil. Now with the Moon, and this is where we're going to end it, to begin to understand all the things that remain behind the scenes on that other side of the veil. Okay. We're going to get this one first. So, and again, I do this. Oh, the Wheel of Fortune is at the bottom of the deck. Okay. I do this to clear out anything, to clear out the previous reading. If anything else needs to be said or added, it gives it an opportunity. And, So, final message, please, from the Pride Tarot. Yeah, but that 8 of Pentacles coming out, like, not right after, but, like, no. Like, 1 to 2 cards, please. Actually, I'm going to end this here and then I'm going to come back live. I want to keep this one a little bit shorter, or not, like, I don't want to detract from whatever I've already done too much because I'm going to keep this one about the second new moon in Cancer. So I'll be right back. We'll get the final messages. Basically, to wrap everything up, if you've been doing the work in the way that you know you need to be doing the work, then you will be granted maybe more responsibility, but the gifts and the blessings will start to come in as well. It's almost like this delay timer was put in place to not filter out the weak. I don't want to say filter out the weak, but to teach us the important lesson of patience and the important lesson of timing. Because it's like comedic timing, right? To really be funny, you have to have perfect comedic timing. To really, really elevate that joke to the next level, it's all about timing. And if you say the punchline too quickly or too late, you're going to reduce the effect of the joke. And this isn't a joke, but that's one way where we can kind of sort of more understand the importance of timing. If you're cooking something, you don't want to undercook it or overcook it, right? Another thing about timing. And so when we create something, it's just like cooking. We want to make sure we cook it for long enough, and we want to make sure that we're not rushing it. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that we'll discover more as, we come into those energies. But anyway, you know, you've done what you've done. You've been in the spaces that you've been in mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etherically. With this Cancer new moon, things are about to come out. I feel like with the first Cancer new moon, it was an opportunity for us to reevaluate and let go of any of the things and patterns and habits that didn't fully serve us. Now with this one, it's about actually moving forward. It's like now these eclipse energies are going to begin to, and the pre-eclipse energies as well are going to begin to move, right? Because it's like I feel like there's been a lot of stuff held up in transit, and now it's all going to be delivered to your front door. So thank you for coming in, and I will catch you if you follow me right now. If you don't, then whenever. Bye.